Hi, Tony Scelzo here. Welcome to the Zipline. You know, what is so awesome about what I get to do every day is talk to great leaders in business that are really transforming where we're going, not only as a state, but as a nation. And I've got Jeff Farren on with B2B CFO. And B2B CFO is one of those new value propositions that's come up in the marketplace that is really augmenting and delivering some significant value in the SMB space by helping them make good decisions operationally on their finances and really growing as an organization so you can achieve that exit that all those business owners are looking for. Jeff, tell us about your business and how you got into it and what really gives you the credibility to talk to us about how we can exit where we want to exit.
You bet. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate you having me today. I've been with B2B CFO now for about 2.5 years, and that really followed about a 25-year career in business. Started way back in commercial banking, commercial lending for 7 years, and then followed that with owning my own company, actually a series of companies in about 5 different spaces where I acquired companies, I founded a couple of companies, had experience with a couple of small roll-ups, and I've really walked in the shoes of the business owner for a long period of time.
Right.
So I'm really in touch with kind of some of the struggles they have, the loneliness of being at the top sometimes, and knowing you don't have all the skill sets to handle all the problems you face as a business owner,
right.
But knowing that the buck stops with you and you've got to figure it out one way or the other, it can be a stressful situation in the business owner's shoes.
And Jeff, I think one of the unique things that you've done is really been on that banking side. So understanding that financial language that the business is using to communicate with their banking relationship, and then going over on the ops side and running your own business and peeling that side. I mean, that's pretty different. And I think it's one of your competitive advantages as an advisor really is having your foot in both sides of that. I mean, I got to think that speaks to your clients.
Well, it really does. I mean, I think many business owners, they realize that everyone wants a good banking relationship. They're not really certain how to maintain that sometimes, and to be mindful of the kinds of information that bankers need and kind of what can spook them a little bit. So, timely and accurate financial statements, that's the goal of every accountant, and it needs to be the goal of the company as well, both for their own internal use, but also for external stakeholders like their banker. And if you get in the habit as a business owner of meeting with them regularly, bankers, and providing that consistent flow of information, they will get much more comfortable about your business, and they'll be able to anticipate your needs sometimes in advance of you asking for something.
So Jeff, I want to change gears on you a little bit. Knowing that you got a very unique background here, what has changed the most as the speed of business has really grown over the last decade and really over the last 2 decades since you and I have been in business? I mean, what is so important for businesses to understand as cheese gets moved every day, right? I mean, it's like, where you used to eat, your business model. What are some of the most important things that you try to get your clients to see? What's the insights you bring to these companies that you're working with?
Well, I think it's all about getting as much value out of every relationship and every tool that you can. I mean, we all need to do more with less today, it seems. And technology has certainly spurred on that and created opportunities and tools and techniques that didn't exist before. I think technology is part of it, but the whole outsourcing movement, I think, has been a revelation. I think business owners have come to understand that they don't need to have the resident knowledge. They don't need to have all of the personnel on their own staff full time in order to be able to leverage best of breed professionals, and that goes not just with the CFO services that I provide, but also in the IT space, in the human resources office. I mean, there are the small business owner can now afford these top flight professionals and leverage outside organizations through an outsourced relationship, and I think it's been transformative.
Well, I think what's important about what you guys do is, very similar to what we do in outsourcing the marketing and sales arm. What you've got to get your head around is the paradigm shift, right? I mean, we used to be, I'm thinking about hiring a CFO or a COO. I got a plan on $140,000, $150,000 base. They're going to make an override. They might want stock options, blah blah blah. But really, it's not a either or. It's how do we have get that resume of somebody that can really immerse themselves in my business, understand my business model, understand what are my key manageables, where I'm spending my money, and then help me strategically get to a plan and an exit where I want to go. I mean, that's what value you guys bring, right?
Well, that's right. And many business owners, when they think of those services, they think first of accounting and bookkeeping, and moving from a bookkeeper to a controller, and in some cases they use the term or the title controller and CFO almost interchangeably, and there's really a big difference. The controller is the highest level professional accountant within the organization. They're doing debits and credits every single day, and the CFO role needs to be the strategic thinker that partners and advises the business owner relative to their financial statements, but also relative to other key relationships within the finance department, such as risk management, banking relationships, as we've touched on. But sometimes the owner thinks, if I've got my accounting handled, then I've got my financial management handled, and there's really so much more to it. And there are exceptional resources available to the owner if he becomes aware of them.
Well, your controller might show you, a different vendor to reduce your expenses, where your CFO should be helping you evolve your business model to see where the future is going to be. I mean, that to me kind of makes that significant difference, right?
That's right, absolutely.
So going back to what you've seen change, what is the most significant impact you've seen, in the last 2 decades? Is it technology? Is it communication? Is it doing less with more? Is it right sourcing movement? Is it a combination thereof? What do companies really got to get their hands on today?
Well, I mean, technology and communication would have to be number one, right? I mean, utilizing not just email today, but social media as a marketing platform. We're doing business today in ways that we never fathomed before. But it's also promoted, smaller footprints in terms of operating needs. Companies don't need the size offices they used to need, because they don't need to pay office rent to store their paper documents. They can do that electronically. They can have 1 or 2 workstations to support maybe as many as 10 professionals who are in the field and are hoteling as well as telecommuting. And it's so I'd love to say that maybe there have been some financial innovations in that period of time, but I think it pales in comparison to how technology has allowed us all to work on a day-by-day basis.
So Jeff, when a client a prospect of yours is going to know they're a good fit, what does your ideal client look like? I mean, how do they know when they should engage with somebody like you?
Well, usually there's maybe a little bit of pain surrounding their day-to-day workflow. The owner probably has some stress over not having the visibility into the accounting system that they need, not having the numbers at their fingertips to make decisions, and there's worry and there's stress surrounding that, and in terms of the kind of the deliverables that we achieve for the owner, there's going to be a cash flow budget, and yes, there's going to be maybe a KPI dashboard or other tactical tools that we deliver. But the bottom line is we're freeing up the owner's time, and we're lessening their stress over basically not having those kinds of tools. And then we're helping them, them and their staff, learn how to use those.
When people ask me about whether or not to work with somebody like you, or even you in particular, what I try to get them to understand is that, are you confidently making decisions on the future of your organization based on your financial output, or based on the numbers you're looking at? Do you even know what numbers that you need to be looking at to confidently invest in your own organization. I think there's a lot of business owners there today that have kind of been so frazzled over the last decade, after the last 5 years in business, that they really don't have the wherewithal to confidently invest in their own organizations. And I think that's kind of what you guys can bring to a company that's in that SMB space. I mean, would you agree with that?
Oh, I agree, absolutely. No question about it. And actually, a couple of case studies kind of come to mind. I mean, I was working with a client, or I just started working with a client a little over a year ago, and they were having some success as measured by that sort of gut level understanding that we're doing well.
Right.
But their financial statements did not tell that story.
Right.
And but they also needed some capital to grow, to reach that next level. And so I looked at the statements. I said, do you use these to make decisions? Well, no. Do you understand what they say? No. I said, well, I don't understand them either. So I think there's some presentation issues that we can work on to better tell your story. So we changed the presentation of the financial statements, created the dashboard of key metrics that don't appear on financial statements. And then we told this terrific story to a set of bankers. And in a very difficult environment, we're able to close on a line of credit that allowed 1 year later for that company to double their revenue. And so it really is a terrific success story.
I mean, B2B CFO, that is what you guys do. You're bringing that high-level insight into a dashboard, to give that business owner to make those tough decisions confidently that they're moving in the right path. Thank you for being on the Zipline, man.
Hey, I really appreciate it, and best of luck to you. And you'd love to talk to you again in the future. Thanks so much.